Hey, what's up, everybody? So, leaving my friend's house, just got done watching The Last of Us, episode 8. Holy crap! They perfect that to the T from the game. The stuff with David. It's funny because I'm replaying The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5, and I just did all the David stuff on Friday. So where I saved it, I'm right in the highway heading to the hospital. I mean, the stuff with Ellie telling Joey she'd be right back and then going to hunt. Well, spoilers, I should say. Going to hunt, but obviously in the game you use a crossbow and a bow. And then this one, she ended up having the sniper, but she had that with her too. And she obviously kills the deer, and then she's by the deer, and that's when David and his fellow friend shows up, which was Troy Baker. And I closed my eyes when Troy Baker was talking, and I was like, oh my God, he's using the same voice as Joel. And them going back or going to get the medicine, Troy Baker gets the medicine, and she's like, the deer's yours if you bring back the medicine. And he's like, well, he's gonna be gone for a while, so why don't we go back and back to where there's a fire and stuff and everything. So they go back, but then they didn't, in the game you go off with David for a little while, and you go into this house. You go into this house, and that's where all the clickers and infected's coming, and then you're running through this one place. I forget what it is. It's some type of big giant warehouse, I think. And you fight a bloater, and a lot of infected is coming through the windows. And then he comes back. I think I'm skipping over little parts, but he comes back with the medicine, and she takes off and goes back to Joel. But then she falls asleep just like she did in the show with the mattress, and then wakes up and she finds out that the guys are hunting for her at the neighborhood. And that's when she gets off on the horse and takes off, but there's 40 guys, and you're going through the neighborhood, and that's when you're shooting, and the guys are trying to jump on the horse, and then they shoot the horse and kills the horse, and then you're going through the different houses, and there's guys roaming around trying to find Ellie. And there's a part where you go to the resort. They're in a resort, and Ellie tries to escape through the door, and then David grabs her and puts her in a sleep hold, and then she's locked up in the cage, which the cage looked exactly from the game. It was mirror image. So it was I was saying the lines before she actually said it to David. And she finds out that they're cannibals, and then he gives her some of the venison, but then in the game she eats it. He's like, I promise it's just venison. And then he obviously sticks his hand in the cage, and she breaks his finger, and then slams her up at the cage. And then she says the same thing. I even mouthed it when she said, she's like, my name's Ellie. He's like, what? And he's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, just tell him Ellie broke your fucking finger. And then he didn't say it, but David's like, we'll see you in the morning. What'd you say? Little pieces, and we'll see you in the morning. So then in the morning, they grab Ellie, and then they said, hey, I'm infected. And he says a line, he's slams the hatchet down, And he's like, okay, I'll play along, and then lifts up the sleeves, and that's when you find out that he's infected, or she got, obviously infected. And then Troy Baker's character is like, wait, what the fuck is this? You're just like, no, that can't be, And then she grabs it, and I knew Troy Baker was going to die. So I was like, oh, poor Troy Baker. And then she escapes, and then it goes back to Joel. And Joel is trying to find Ellie. And then there's a point where it's at the restaurant, and the place is on fire. You go in, and the place is on fire. But in the game, there's like, you're supposed to hide from David, and there's these broken plates all around the ground. So if you step over the plate, he runs to where the sound is, and you just kind of, when David has his back turned, you just jump up and you start stabbing him with the knife you have. And there's a point, the very last, I think it's like 3 different parts, and then the last part is when he like grabs her and punches her, and then you have to move up on the analog stick to reach the knife, the machete, and then you grab it, and then you swing and hit David in the neck, and that's when she starts going crazy. But in the game, Joe comes into the burning restaurant and grabs her, and just like, hey, it's okay, baby girl, and stuff, and she starts crying and stuff. But in the show, she went out through the door, and that's when Joe grabbed her. So I was like, oh my god, it was just perfect to a T. Oh, it's so good. It was so good. And it's getting close to the end of the game and show, so you don't have too much more to go. You go to the hospital where their fireflies are, and then all that stuff happens. Well, we'll talk about that next Sunday. So season 1 finale. So they've done a really good job. 9 episodes to have enough time to basically tell a lot of the key points, even though the Bill stuff was different. That's the one episode with Bill I didn't care for too much, because I wish they would have kept it like the game. But other than that, fantastic episode. And gosh, it's just so good to see a video game series, a show based on a video game that's like perfect to the T. So anyway, have a great night, everybody. Take care.